All right, so had some technical difficulties. I think I was spraying a bit too much out of my airbrush, so it caused my smoke alarm to go off. So definitely, you're working with paints inside. So I was spraying laminin median to coat my models to protect them, and also to give them a nice matte finish. And I think I had my airbrush set to too open a setting, and so I was putting a lot of paint in the air. So definitely important to wear a mask when you're doing that, and you make sure your settings are correct. So I set off my smoke detector. So I've given my wolves and the bases time to dry from, again, spraying them with this technical paint. So they have a really nice matte finish now. So before, when I would move them under the light, they were really shiny. So now they have a matte finish. So they have a really nice matte look to them. So like especially this white wolf now looks really good. The black wolf also looks like there's some of the coating still drying, but we are ready to move on to the next step. So going to put two of these wolves aside and just focus on this brown one. So what I'm going to be doing next is using this hobby grass that I just got from my local hobby store. So I don't remember the name of this. Unfortunately, I don't think Games Workshops or Citadel makes anything like this, but it's just kind of a strip of grass. And so I'll start off on this brown wolf. And so what you need for this is some tweezers and some super glue. So I'm just going to open my super glue. Cool. And just put it on its side so that it's ready to go. And so what you do is you just pluck off a little bit of this grass, and then it has kind of like a adhesive on the back of it. You can just use your fingers to tear it apart. So usually tear it into like 3 chunks, and then you want to grab that with your tweezers and just put a little dab of glue on it, and then find an interesting place like a little crack to stick it. So, and then you can use your tweezers to kind of, while the glue is still setting, kind of push it around so that it has kind of a good pattern to it. And then, so you just do this with the next one. Again, my glue's kind of coming out quick. So just a little dab of glue, and then find the next interesting spot. Sometimes I put it where like the feet connect to kind of hide the connection between the feet and the ground. On this model, the front of the foot is kind of lifting up, so I can just put some grass there to hide that. So it's a nice way to kind of hide any imperfections. So this one I'm going to put right here. So I try to find, dang it. Try to find like, rock grooves or things like that, kind of places where you see in nature grass kind of poking out of. So I think that looks really nice. So 3 little tufts of grass. And so then the next thing I would do is, maybe we'll do the repulsor base next. So have the repulsor base. So I'm going to do the same thing here, but just a lot more of it. So for this one I want bigger tufts of grass. So I'm just going to pull one of the tufts in half instead of in thirds. So again, I'm just going to lay this into interesting little crevices. Just putting a little glue on it. And so just working my way around. good. Right here is a good spot. So just looking for places to kind of make this more interesting. I think this starts to look really good when you have the, the dry brushing, rock effects, and then you start putting this grass in place. I think it really starts to almost look real. So just gonna keep working my way around, just using as much grass as you want to. I need some here. Trying to make it random but evenly distributed. Sometimes it's hard to make things look natural. Looks over-engineered. Maybe one more tuft of grass. One up here. And maybe right here. Maybe I'll do one more. And this one, I can go right in the front here. Cool. So that looks pretty good. So I'm going to hold off on the rest of these, but you can see kind of the before and after. Even just adding this grass already starts to kind of really bring these bases to life. So the next thing we're going to do is add the snow effect, which is a Citadel Miniatures texture paint, a Holland Blizzard. You want to give it a little shake. It's pretty thick, so it doesn't shake up too much. So it's kind of like a goop, and so I'm going to use kind of an old crummy big brush, and so I want to get a good amount of snow on here, and then I'm just going to look for like kind of things to catch this snow on. Again, thinking about how snow kind of collects in the real world, kind of is wind blown. Put it on the front of the base here. I can use my finger to kind of clean it up a little bit so that that edge stays nice. And I want it to be a little rough. I don't want to totally push the snow down. I want it to kind of build up in clumps so it looks natural. I can put some on the inside. I just want to remember that this center part is where the repulsor base or the repulsor stand is going to go. So I don't really want to put any there. Put a little bit more here. You could put big clumps, small clumps. Just whatever feels right, whatever looks good to you. So definitely a nice technique is to kind of drag it across the model and just let it get caught in the rocks. That's kind of what wind does when it gets blown around, is it just kind of gets caught in stuff. So if you can kind of recreate that with your brush, it'll give it a nice natural feel. Again, if you get too much, just rub it off with your finger. So this is looking pretty good. So I just want to, probably put just a little bit more, like that. Maybe over here. Cool. Just cleaning it up with my finger if I get it over, or get it on the edge. And then maybe get a little kind of rough with it, just bring bring some of that, just kind of drag. Bring my, what I'm doing here is bringing my brush, kind of just dragging it across the rocks so that just like little kind of snow particles pick up, so it's a little more random. I can also dab the snow, break it up a little bit. You know, don't want it to look too perfect. You want to kind of mess it up a little bit. So I think that looks pretty good for the repulsor base. So again, want to clean up some of this stuff. Also looks like right here, this grass kind of got some glue on it. So I want to clean that up. Where are my clippers? Here we go. So if there's any kind of mistakes with the grass, you can use your clippers to clean it up. Use your finger along the edge. Clean up the snow. Cool. That looks pretty good. So, just gonna do now the same thing for this wolf. So I'm not gonna use as much snow, but maybe like a little bit in the front here, over here, back, cleaning it up with my finger. Something you can also do is you can use it again to kind of cover where the foot meets the ground to, just hide kind of that connection, which sometimes can look wrong. So what's nice about it's kind of adding these additional effects, you could use them to kind of clean up any imperfections. Maybe I'll just put just kind of a snow pile in the middle here. So there's the wolf with the snow. I'll catch a little bit front here. You can also put a little bit in the grass. The snow is, caught in the grass. So there's the wolf with the snow effects and the grass effects, and I just need to let that dry, and it'll be good. So you can just make sure to clean off your brush. With this, you want to clean it really good because you can get a lot of that. I think what this is basically like some sort of like powder, like I don't know, baking soda or something, some sort of rough kind of texture powder and glue. So you want to you want to get that off your brush quickly. So that's it. So here's the repulsor base with the snow effects and the grass. And then here's the wolf with the same treatment. So I've been doing this to my whole army, so they all have the same bases. Gives them a really cool look. They're going through this winter land. So hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys soon.